And then it all went terribly wrong when his wifey, bearing in mind she's older, let's not forget, I'm younger these times, I must be like 25, I don't even know, 24, fuck knows. But basically she starts thinking that me and him are getting together. Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a story time on why I quit music and some of the experiences that I had when I was doing music. Now this video will probably be a little bit of a long one and an interesting one, and I may kind of like skip in and out of stories because I forget the timeline sometimes, because some of this stuff was quite a long time ago. I probably quit doing music now, I reckon like 3 years ago maybe. I think it was that long ago anyway, it's hard to remember now. I started music when I was quite young, and some of the stories that I do tell as part of this video, I'm not going to go into too much detail in, because one, I don't want to incriminate myself or anybody else. Some bits I kind of have to like move around a bit or not say too much detail in. I will also not be mentioning any names in this video at all, because one, this video is literally just an entertainment video to tell my side of the story. I have had a few people ask me on Instagram before about why I quit music and stuff like that, and I said that I would do a video on it. And yeah, I don't want to like, you know, bait up people's name. It's not for attention or to like bait anyone up or anything like that. So I will not be naming anybody. Some of these people are known people, so I will definitely not be saying names. And another thing as well, when I did music, like I didn't get very far with it. Like that's not what this video is trying to imply, by the way. Like I wasn't anybody big in music or anything like that. Not even anywhere near that. But I had some fun times, some bad times, and some interesting experiences that I'm going to talk about anyway, because it still makes a really great story time. But yeah, I did not think that I was anybody special or did anything, you know, made any big moves, because I didn't. But yeah, so if you want to hear more, keep listening. So basically I started doing music when I was probably like, I reckon I was like about like 15. When I was young, I always really liked writing, so I'd always like write poetry. Yeah, I would always write like poetry, and then that turned into like songwriting and stuff like that, and I just enjoyed writing. That's kind of how it started when I was really young, like maybe like 10. And then when I was about 15, I started going to a studio in Southend in Essex, and I started recording. If I can find, it makes me want to die, but if I can find some old clips of my stuff, I will insert clips of it in, because it is so funny. Some of it is so bad. But this is when I first started, and I used to just kind of sing. Now I can't like sing, but I've got a tone, so I can sing like a little bit, but I'm not like a singer. Like I don't know all about like keys and all like the technical stuff, so I'm nowhere near that great. I've just got a tone and can sing a little bit. It's nothing special. And yeah, basically I started singing and started like writing, and I would write basically all my own tunes or whatever, and I worked with a producer there, and I had a really good time actually. I was really young, I was about 15, and I was there for a good over 2 years. My dad used to basically take me up there like every other Saturday, and then when I turned 17 and started driving, I used to go up there myself. I got on with the producer really well down there and just had a really good time. Like we were just cool, we had a laugh, made songs. Like I really enjoyed it. It was, even if it wasn't something at the time that was that serious, like I just generally enjoyed doing it. Like I just had a good time recording, going down there and having a laugh, and you know, it's like hanging out with a friend and just having fun. So yeah, so I used to go down there, and that's how it all started really. And then one day I was like, oh, I kind of want to rap, but I was like, nah, I'm just some white bitch from the country, I can't rap. I used to be like too scared to try, and then one day someone was like, well fuck it, just try, innit, it doesn't really matter. And I think I remember the first tune I ever recorded as a rap was, I think I did a cover to Monster by Gigs. Oh, it makes me want to die. Like, oh my god, if I was listening back to that now, shit, it would be the most cringeworthy shit. Like I said, if I can find any clips, I'll put it in just for jokes, because it is that bad. It's actually hilarious. I wasn't somebody who like practiced or whatever. I just started recording and putting stuff on the internet. I don't know why I did that. I should have at least given myself some time to practice. And then I don't know how, but somehow this producer, who I think it was in Edmonton, if I was right, was it Edmonton? I think it was Edmonton. I don't know how they got in contact with me. I don't know whether it was like, because when I first started music, it would have been on like MySpace. I don't know how this guy would have found me, but somehow he found one of my tracks. I think it was the Monster track. He was like, oh yeah, come down and record or whatever. And he actually lived not that far away from me, although his studio was in Edmonton. So I started meeting up with him, and he was like a really cool guy. Like we got on really well. He again was like a producer and an engineer. So that's when I did like my first ever like mixtape. And he was really cool. And again, I really enjoyed being down there, just having a laugh. We would just like smoke sometimes, have a drink, record. Like I really enjoyed it. And through that, I met a couple of other people that were kind of known in the grime scene at the time. So that's how I kind of managed, because like you meet one person, then you meet another person, and like they would be at the studio sometimes, and then I'd met them. And one of the artists that actually came down that this producer introduced me to, I actually became really good friends with, and still was for a very, very long time, even when I quit music. Like he was actually cool. Like I wasn't a creep. We were actually just genuine friends. Like it wasn't anything like that. He was just a really cool guy. We had each other's back. Like we actually became good friends. So that was actually one of the good relationships that came out of it, a good friendship, I should say. But yeah, so I started recording down there and doing different things. And then I don't remember all the ins and outs. I worked with quite a few different random producers and engineers. I sometimes go to like different studios in London and like network and try and work with different people. And then I did like the odd little couple of shows here and there. And then I remember meeting up with one manager once. I think I went to did a cypher on Rap City. I honestly don't remember how the fuck I ended up turning up to half of these things. You just keep meeting people, and then I was quite good at like networking on like social media and stuff like that, and you know, just like making sure you interact like you would in business when you network in any type of business. And yeah, and I remember meeting him, and we would sort of discuss, but that didn't really pull through. Nothing really came of that, so I was still kind of like doing my own thing. Then I met another guy who was also an engineer, who decided to manage me for a bit. I also recorded at that studio, and again, like we actually became really, really good friends. I am still cool with this person today. Like I have a lot of love for this person. They've done really, really well for themselves now as well. I'm super proud of them. So we're still super cool. Really love that guy. So yeah, there are some good people I met out of this, even though I had some bad experiences. But yeah, that just didn't work out for whatever reason, but it wasn't anything bad. Like we were still always cool. There was no, you know, terrible reasons why it ended. It just didn't work out timing wise or whatever. But I've recorded down there, done another few mixtapes. I would record videos. I worked with lots of different video people, and I think I met other artists through them. I ended up like in certain studios where other artists will be sometimes. So you just kind of be around people. And yeah, so I mean, I would say 70% of it was good. Like I met some really great people and had a really great time. Got to like drive to different places all over London, and I really enjoyed it. Then I met my last manager, who I was actually with for a good couple of years. And yeah, it was a strange one really, because I think somebody I knew in the grime industry at the time introduced me to this person and was like, yeah, this person's cool. Like, and I remember meeting up with them and then saying that we were going to work together and stuff. And yeah, to be fair, it worked really well, like, because there was like, he introduced me to one of his friends that was also like an engineer, so we had like our own little team. Like I was cool with like his girlfriend, she would be there sometimes, and I really liked it because it was kind of like a little team. And that's all, to be honest with you, that I think that's all I ever wanted. Like I just wanted to feel like part of a team as well. Like it just felt nice for like social reasons. I just enjoyed it, to be honest with you. I just liked having like a good laugh with people. I generally like that, like the good memories and stuff like still outweigh the bad for sure. And yeah, like I became like super close with my manager, so we were like really good friends. Like I'd met his son, you know, like helped them out. They, you know, I'm sure he'd help me out at times. Like, you know, even when I first moved here, he'd come to like look at the flats with me and stuff. Like we were like super tight. And like I'd literally be in London, like driving up here, because I lived in Essex at the time, because I'm born in Essex, or on the border of Essex and Hertfordshire. And I would basically be driving up to London, like I'd be in London all the time. So yeah, basically I would just keep driving back and forth. I don't know how. I'd be up sometimes in studios till like 4 a.m. and then go to uni the next day. I do not know how the fuck I did that, because I could not do that now. But yeah, that's why I was on it though. I actually really wanted to do music, so I was on it. And if I want to do something, I will go for it. And to be honest with you, in music, it's not even just about talent. Most of us know when you get higher up the top, as long as you kind of do what you're told type thing, you're kind of molded anyway. Don't get me wrong, there obviously are some extremely talented people as well. But yeah, so basically, where the fuck was I? So yeah, basically we were just like super cool. We'd have like our own little studio set up, or use other ones sometimes. He'd also get me to work with other people or do certain videos and interviews, or, you know, again, it was nothing big. Like I'm not saying this is on any big scale. This is just like average stuff. I wasn't any big interviews or any big shows or anything like that. I just did like local stuff or whatever. As I said, I'm not trying to make it out like I was anything special, because I was not. I had like a tiny following, you know what I mean? But yeah, so basically I would work with him and meet with different people and stuff like that, and we were really close. I would say like we were like kind of like family type thing. Like we were tight. Like all of us were kind of tight to a certain degree, you know, but particularly me and my manager. And yeah, sometimes we would argue, and don't get me wrong, like nobody's perfect. I could be a right bitch sometimes. Like when it comes to business, like not so much in other areas, but when it comes to like business, I am onto people, and I can sometimes be a little bit harsh or be a little bit bitchy, or get a little bit too angry sometimes when I come across with certain things, a little bit too passionate. So don't get me wrong, I was never perfect. I'm sure I was annoying and fucked up in a few ways, but yeah, it got, after a while, it was cool for ages. And then at one point, it's just, I just remember, I don't remember all the ins and outs. I remember we used to have a good laugh. I do remember though, and to be fair, even if I saw him now, I think I'd feel differently now. I was still a bit angry after for a while, but now I'd probably feel different. But looking back now, like we had some good laughs. Like that guy really made me laugh. So, you know what I mean? Like now I just think of the good times. I don't even have any bitter feelings at all about any of this anymore. But yeah, basically, I lent him some money for whatever reason, and said, you know, like need to invest this money, make more money, put it into the music, whatever. And then I said, like at some point I might need it back by these sort of times, because these times I was planning to move to London because I was spending so much time here. Not long after, it'd been like a good few months. And I'm thinking like, I ain't seen no return on my money. Like, what the fuck is going on? And I just found out a few things that made me a little bit like, I don't know if I like what you're doing. Like, I feel a little bit like, these are like dodgy moves. Like, for instance, the money got given to someone that I didn't even know about it. And they were saying like, pretending like it was theirs. And there was just like a few things. I was like, this is a bit fishy. Like, you should keep me in the loop. Like, this is a bit mad. So I started to get a bit like on edge about that. And then at some point I was like, look, it's getting a while now. Like, I'm going to need the money back. I've got to pay deposit for my flat. And that's when shit started to go wrong, because basically they couldn't pay me back the money. They hadn't made the money, and then I needed it back. And then you know what it goes like with money and people sometimes. That's when it all just went fucking tits up. They only gave me, I think in the end, like $350 back, and then we just started beefing about the rest of the money, because I was like, well, I need my money back. It's not like I didn't warn you about this. It's been months. Like, you ain't made my money. Like, I'm not saying I was perfect in the situation, but at the end of the day, like, they just started going mad. I remember them threatening me and like threatening my life, and it was just like, what the fuck, man? Like, this is getting way out of hand, especially because of how close we were, you know. And it just, I mean, as I said, I'm not saying I was 100% perfect in the situation, but I certainly would never not pay somebody's money back, especially if I knew they were going to need it back at some sort of time. And they just never gave me the money back. They basically robbed my money. like I said, I only got about $350 left. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't loads and loads and loads of money. Like, they probably robbed me like, I don't know, 650, 7 bills or whatever. But like, yeah, it's just the principle. Like, I wouldn't do that to someone in it. I would always pay back the money, but whatever, I got over it after a period of time. But that just left things very salty, and it all just went really bitter from there. At the time, I did go tell another couple of people in the industry what happened. Looking back, like, I probably shouldn't have done that, because that's not right. You should just keep your business. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that made things more sour, because those people must have got onto him. And looking back, like, that probably wasn't the best thing to do, but you know, I was younger then as well. I was more immature, and I was fucking pissed off. I just felt violated, and because bad things have happened to me in the past of music, I would sometimes like react quite quickly or get quite defensive, because I felt like I've been taken the piss of, and I'd been naive in the past when I first started music, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about now. So I kind of felt a bit like on edge anyway, so I'd be very defensive. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not always right. So there were some things I did wrong as well, you know, and looking back, I'd definitely apologize for that. But still, I was the threatening and taking money, like, is not cool. So that was that situation done. The reason why sometimes I get defensive, so these times before, when I first started music, I was young, I must have been like 18, 19 these times. And I remember going to one part of London and trying to get some weed at the time. And I wanted to get a bigger bit. And I remember, and this guy was a grime artist at the time, like not known, but kind of known, not so known now, but at the time. And I just remember like him, and I don't know why I did this, but I don't know why I gave this boy, I should say, it wasn't even a man, he was a boy, why I gave this boy my money, but I did. Do you think man came back with my money? No. This grime artist took my money, man did not come back. I was like, wow, they're really that broke out here that they got to steal a couple £100 off like a fucking female. Wow, this is what men are about. Okay, but these times I was naive. Like, now I would never give my money to somebody that I don't know pretty well, and even then, do you know what I'm saying? But looking back, like, you live and you learn. That was the first fucked up thing that happened. I'm sure there's another couple of things along the way that weren't that big of a deal, but then I was doing this tune with this other artist who had come to their studio. Again, not going to mention who they are, but had come to their studio Basically recorded this tune, and then later on down the line when I had another management, this was before this last manager that robbed me, by the way, sorry, I'm kind of skipping back like a year or so. Basically, like, we were cool and stuff, but don't get me wrong, I could be a bit mouthy these times, and again, naivety was not the right moves to make, but big mouth Jade still did it. But yeah, basically, and then we kind of fell out, and there was like a discrepancy over the tune, because at the time I didn't want the tune out, the manager I was working with didn't want the tune out, basically because of the kind of, it was a little bit more of like a sexual vibe tune, and basically we just didn't want it out at the time, and there was arguments because he'd already like paid for something, and then I obviously did get mouthy. I cannot remember for the life of me. This was years ago. Like, I'm talking, this was years, like my good early 20s. So I cannot remember for the life of me what the hell I said. But I know for a fact I was mouthy and I shouldn't have been. Even though, technically, I was in the right to still ask for that tune. Because I remember I didn't even finish it. And they got some other girl just to finish my bit. And I was like, right. I was like, who just fucking takes the tune, doesn't tell the person, and gets someone else to fucking finish it and then puts it out without telling them? So I wasn't technically in the wrong, but I shouldn't have got mouthy. And I did. That was where I went wrong. And the second thing was where I went wrong is, after having this argument, I went to link this person when they asked me. Totally bad idea. Why the fuck did I do that? Who knows? Basically, when I arrived, bearing in mind these times it was freezing and it was snowing outside, like there was snow on the floor. I get to this place, I'm in my car, I pull up, park down this residential road. It was kind of like a quiet residential road or whatever. And I just remember feeling like instant fear. Like, you know when you like look in someone's eyes and you just think like there's nothing there, they just look pure evil. Like, that's how this guy looked. And this guy at the time, right, is like 6 foot something. I'm like 5'3", 5'4". So I'm thinking, he looks angry. We just didn't come here, you know, them ones. But, and he gets out. I can't remember the exacts because, again, this was so long ago. I can't remember all the ins and outs. But he gets out the car, comes round the side of my door, opens my door, literally takes my keys. It's like, get out the car, like drags me out the car. Like, I've got my phone on me, but he's dragged me out of the car. These times it's snowing. We're going down the road and he's just screaming. I can't even remember what he's saying to me. I really can't remember now, but I just remember him shouting at me, like, and he was like pushing me and shit. Like, these times I'm starting to cry. Like, he was just like, he said something about, oh, crying, you bitch, or something like that, like something bare insulting, and he takes my phone and just throws. Well, I assumed I don't know if he actually threw it or whether he robbed it, but he insinuated like he threw it. I'll never know to this day, innit, but not that it matters. And yeah, and he was just like, just being bare violent. I can't even remember what happened. He didn't actually like fully hit me, but he was just like pushing me and shit, just all up in my face. It was mad. Like, I was just like, fuck. Like, I was actually scared at this point because like he's quite tall and shit. And he'd like, I don't know what happened to my car key. So I'm just like, where's my fucking car key? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking, how am I supposed to drive back? I got no other car key. Thank God I found my car key on the road. Oh, thank God. Obviously not my phone, but my car key. And don't ask me why, but I was so angry. Don't ask me why I did this because it was so dumb. I pick up a brick. Don't ask me why. This guy's walked off by now. Time I found my key and got back in the car, I've gone and picked up a brick. Do not ask me why. These times I'm just angry. So I've like drove back around in front of like the building where he was staying and stuff, but there was like not security, but like people in the front and stuff, like reception or whatever. And I'm just here with this brick, like, and I don't even know what the fuck I think I'm gonna do. And honestly, I don't know. These times I should have just driven off. Luckily, thank God, he wasn't there, and people were like, there was a couple of people looking at me. I was like, shit, I'm gonna go. And he was nowhere to be seen in it. Thank God, because I don't know how the fuck, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I get back in the car and then I drive straight to my boy's house. This is the guy that I mentioned that I became good friends with through the first producer that I worked with. And he actually did have my back. Some of these details I have to leave out in it. But yeah, basically I go to his house. I'm literally like crying, like, no, this guy's dragged me out of the car. He's all fucking putting his hands on me and shit. Like, oh, it was mad. And I was like, he's taken my phone. And I remember him just being, all right, that's it, we're going. He grabbed something. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he grabbed something, we get in the car, and he's just like, let's go. And these times I'm thinking, oh my God, like, and I'm just in like a state of just like rage and upset at the moment. So I'm not even thinking straight. In hindsight, obviously I would never have done that. But yeah, we get in the car and drive down. Thank God we don't see the guy, because I'm thinking, even if we get pulled, that's my life over. So yeah, it was just crazy, but thank God nothing happened. And then we drove home and that was it really. And I got over it. But yeah, it was just, that was probably one of the most craziest times. Was it one of probably actually. But yeah, so that was a bit mad. Thank God nothing happened. And then the funniest thing is, I swear like a month or so later, this guy just rings me on a normal one. Like, like that whole scenario didn't happen. But anyway, this was a long time ago, by the way, so I don't hold any grudges for any of these people, just to put that out there. I don't even give a shit about any of this stuff anymore, and I do not feel any type of way about any of this stuff. It was so long ago, and I get over things quite quickly anyway. So yeah, so that was basically that situation. So that wasn't great. So anyway, that happened before my last manager. So skipping forward again, sorry. So yeah, I've fallen out with this other manager by now, and I just felt like really let down, because it's like, fuck, like who am I going to work with now? And I just kept feeling like let down. And most people know in music and a lot of businesses, like a lot of people say things don't pull through, you get let down a lot. It just is what it is, isn't it? So it's frustrating anyway. And then I remember working with this other guy in the studio that manager had introduced me to, basically, and he was like a slightly older guy. He had like an older wife, must have been like late 30s, early 40s, like 5 kids kind of thing. And like he was a cool person. Like me and him got on really well as friends, nothing else. Wasn't my type anyway, but you know, not the point. But we were just friends, nothing else. But we'd have banter, we'd have a laugh, we were cool. Literally, I was in there recording like every week, once, twice a week for a long period of time. So obviously over time, you're going to build like friendships or some type of relationship with somebody you're working with. You know, so you're just naturally going to get on because you're around each other so much. So, you know, you're in the studio, and sometimes there's other people in there, you know, it's a mixture. I had a really good time, actually. We used to sometimes have like jam sessions where like a guy came down with a guitar and we'd just like jam and rap. Some people would sing. It was sick. I loved it. And sometimes like a couple of his kids would be there, and they did music and they were really talented, and it was really good. And then it all went terribly wrong when his wifey, bearing in mind she's older, let's not forget, I'm younger these times, I must be like 25, I don't even know, 24, fuck knows. But basically she starts thinking that me and him are getting together. So I'm just like, oh, headache. Me and this guy, never anything like that. I would never. The thing is with me, like I know a lot of females would and a lot still wouldn't, but even if I wanted to get with somebody and I knew they had a partner, I still wouldn't go there. Don't get me wrong, it's different if like someone lies to you and you have no idea. But like, the thing is, regardless of that, he was not my type at all. It's like, love, out of all the people I could have chosen in music, like, not even trying to be rude, but like, it was not that by any means, but she just had it fixed in her head that was what it was. And I can see now why some men are scared of women, because some people be crazy out here. And she just was convinced. So she would often cause hassle, like ringing up him. Like I could basically hear her like calling me a hoe and this and that. And I'm just like, wow. And then basically like threatening it. It just made it difficult to work. And then she would like sometimes find my email off my socials, whatever, start emailing me. Like, I just like, oh, this is just crazy. And I even said on the phone at one time, like, it's not that, but the thing for me is like, I really liked working there and I didn't have anywhere else to work, and that was working perfectly. I didn't want to lose where I was working because we were working on a mixtape. So I was trying to like solve the situation so I could continue doing my music. And because that meant a lot to me at the time. And I even invited her down to the studio, and she actually did come. And I said, come down to the session, chill with us. I don't care if you come whenever, as long as it ain't awkward. I don't care, because I've got nothing to hide. Do you know what I'm saying? And she even came down and we were cool. And then a week later, she goes mad again. So I'm just like, nah. So anyway, and then at one point, it got really peak. One time, like, she was like threatening to go mad, and I think turned up at the door shouting, but then nothing happened. I ended up leaving. I don't know what happened there because I didn't see her. She must have been in another room. And then another time she was trying to get her daughter basically to start a fight with me. I'm like, what, who the fuck does this? Is like, honestly, this is like some Jeremy. I'm Jeremy Kyle right now. It's like some Jeremy Kyle shit. At this point, I'm like, you know what? It ain't even worth the work. It ain't even worth doing the music for this. It's just not worth being around this type of energy. Like, not in a rude way, but I'm not about all this type of drama. Like, nah, it's not for me. So I was like, I'm gonna have to leave anyway. But then the daughter starts kicking off. Bearing in mind, she's like 15 years old. I'm like 24 or whatever. I've got a job where I get CRB checked. I ain't gonna start fighting a kid. I'm not gonna, and either way, I'm not gonna fucking hit someone that's 15. She's like trying to like say like she was gonna fight me, and then her and her dad, and like the engineer and her dad, they start fighting in the room, and like he's like holding her down, and they're beefing and fighting, and I'm just there like, oh my god, what the fuck am I into? You know, when you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is all over absolutely nothing. Like, an absolute bullshit lie or rumor, or I don't even know. This is over absolutely nothing. Something that someone's got in their head that is completely not true. I just grab my shit and I fucking leave. I am out of there. I even remember the girl shouting something like, oh, you're too pussy to fight a kid or something like that. And I'm thinking that's the whole reason I'm not doing it, because you're a kid. Oh, it was mad. I was like, you know what, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And thank God I did, because literally like 3 or 4 minutes after I left, feds arrived. So thank fuck that I didn't get into no shit, because I could not have been dealing with getting arrested that night too. It was mad. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. Luckily I grabbed my shit in time and I left. I got out of there. So that was probably the other most maddest situations. I have been in other situations where like I'm really, really lucky. Like when I talk about bad situations in music, and like although certain things have happened in some degree, like I've never been like sexually abused or anything like that. And like, as I said, I feel extremely lucky, because there are so many women in general, but as well particularly in the music industry, that go through stuff like that. And some of the situations that I had been in, when I look back, like, and I think it's so stupid, like when I think back, like I'm so lucky to get out of some situations that I did, because there's certain people now that has come out that they've done certain things that I've been around, like scary things, you know. And it's like, thank God that I was always safe, because there were times where I felt uncomfortable. And there are times of certain artists or certain rappers that are known that I've been around, and when I tell you these people have a dark energy, like there's people that are just done fucked up shit, don't get me wrong, but then like, and I'm talking even real fucked up shit, but their energy's not like that. There's some people that just carry a dark energy, and there were times where I did feel a little bit like intimidated and threatened, but I'd never actually had someone like physically sexually abuse me or anything like that. And like I said, I'm very, very lucky for that, because when I look back, I think I was stupid for putting myself in some of the situations that I did, especially with like when you can't trust people and things like that. Luckily, when I had that manager, most of the time I was with him, so I'd feel a lot safer. That's another reason why I really like rolling with them as well, because he'd come to like my interviews with me, and I just felt a lot more comfortable like as a female, like having him there. And don't get me wrong, like I said, there are most of the people I met in the music industry were really good people and never done anything wrong to me, but there were a couple of situations that could have got hairy, or that were actually a little bit crazy. And yeah, I just think back and think, wow, actually I was so lucky to have actually not got into more trouble or not had like more bad things happen to me. But yeah, I'd say overall it was more of a happy experience. Although these stories are a bit crazy, it was more of a happy experience. The reason I quit music was basically because after the last thing with the engineer, I started to work with somebody else, like one of my friends who I'm still cool with now actually. A DJ brought someone around and I started working with him. But he was one of them people that I felt like used who he'd worked with before to kind of big himself up in front of women. That's how I felt. That's the vibe I got. Like, oh, I've made so-and-so's career kind of thing. And I didn't really like that. And he was basically like, don't work with anyone else while you're working with me. Or, sorry, no, he didn't say that. Sorry. Erase. He said, don't release any other music when you're with me. So I was like, cool. During these times, I went to my boy's studio in East London, because me and him were just cool and he's a DJ and I wanted to kind of, you know, keep up the relationship, etc. We were friends. I hadn't seen him for a while. We just had a laugh. I recorded. I was not releasing any of that stuff. It was literally just for fun. And I mentioned it in passing, and then they were like, oh, you're a snake, da 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 da. I think they used that as an excuse to not work with me anymore, because they were doing it for free. Or I shouldn't say they, he was doing it for free, and I just don't think he wanted to do it anymore because he wasn't earning money, which is fair enough. But yeah, he kind of was like, oh, da da da, and that's when it all kicked off. And to be fair, I did go mad. I did send a fucked up text after that, because I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? Because it pissed me off, you know. It was like, if I thought I was being a snake, do you think I'd be stupid enough to fucking tell you? I told you that I went to a studio. If I thought I was snaking you, you think I would have told you? I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I would never release anything. I never said that I would. I literally just went there for fun. Like, he's my friend. Oh dear. And after that, I lost all the songs again because it was his work, and I just thought, fuck this. And you know the thing that literally broke the straw on the camel's back? I've always been like semi-woke, hate using that word, but to a certain degree, I've always thought differently and realised things aren't quite what I thought they were. But over the years, I became more and more knowledgeable, and I started to, and again, I got nowhere near to this level in the industry, but I started to realise what the top of the music industry really was about, what it was like, and a lot of what went on. And I just said to myself, like, I don't want to be a part of that. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people out there that can be independent and do really well for themselves, like, all credit. But I just thought to myself, you know what, I kind of feel like I've lost passion for it. Like I said, I wasn't really the best anyway. And I just thought to myself, after finding out all this stuff, like, I don't think I'm meant to be doing this. Like, I don't know why, but I just felt like God was telling me, like, this isn't for you. And I just felt like health was supposed to be for me. And I wanted just to go full blast with one. I didn't want to be half-hearted on kind of both. I was like, I just want to go with one. and I ended up choosing health, and I'm so thankful and thank you to God, you know, because it was definitely the right decision, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I definitely feel like it's my purpose, but I don't regret any of music. I know for a fact I needed to do music. And the weirdest thing is, my mum actually had a psychic reading, I think when I was really small, and they said to her, oh, your daughter's gonna like do music or be involved in music, and my mum was like, nah, because I was never really interested in music, and I definitely wasn't when I was at like senior school and stuff, as in like playing music or stuff like that. I was interested in listening to a bit, but that was it. But I did, and honest to God, if it wasn't for music, like I said in my spiritual video, I would not be, I don't think I'd know the certain things that I know today, or be like on the spiritual path I am today, because it was meeting people in music that I felt like really woke me up to certain things and showed me different perspectives and taught me a lot. And I'm so grateful for that journey. And like I said, it was more good times than bad. I did have a lot of good times, and I don't regret it. Like I said, defo made some silly decisions, defo had some bad experiences, but I don't regret it in a whole. But I basically quit because the more and more I found out about the industry, the more I just didn't feel like God was gearing me towards that way. I just didn't feel like it was my personal pathway. Like I said, I'm not saying this is the same for everybody, but this is just what I felt like for me. And that's why I made the decision to just completely stop. Like you see, you'll probably see in the background, I still got like my mic. I've still actually got Logic and speakers and stuff like that, but I don't really use it. But I'm going to be doing some other stuff that I need to probably use a voiceover for, so I keep it. And you never know, one day for a laugh I might. But yeah, so that was it really. But I did lose passion for it, and yeah, I think you've got to really, really want something to go for something like that. And I feel like health is where my passion is at, and I still feel like that today. And yeah, so that's basically where I'm at today. So that is my story. Hopefully it wasn't too long. I probably missed out so many in-between stories. And like I said, some things I can't really go into detail about, because one, I don't want to expose who the people are, and two, I don't want to expose some of the details of certain stories and stuff. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea and some of the crazy things that happened to me. But yeah, so I will see you guys in my next YouTube video, and positive vibes to all of you.